everyone, it's been a while since I did a pickups video, so I thought I'd do one today and actually have some kind of rare and unique stuff to show you today. And I guarantee there's going to be at least one thing in here that anyone watching right now has never heard of, probably. But first I want to get started with the Switch 2. Now, I haven't ordered a Switch 2 prematurely or anything. I think I'm just going to get one, you know, kind of when it's convenient. Hopefully they'll come out with some kind of like package deal at Costco or something. You know, that's how I bought my PS5. I just waited a bit. And then you get, you know, like an extra controller or something. But I have actually bought my first Switch game ever. I never got the original Switch, and I actually haven't bought like a new Nintendo system since ever, really. I think I got a Super Nintendo when I was a kid, but that was something my parents bought me for Christmas. I've never actually like spent my own money on a Nintendo system, on a brand new one rather. I've bought like Wii and I got a Wii U, but I never bought into the Switch. I was just kind of waiting on it for a while for the Switch 2 to come out so I can get an upgraded system, and then I could play the old games on it that, I'd be interested in playing, like this Astral Chain game. This one came out a while ago, I think. I'm not sure the year. 2019 it says. But this is a kind of cool looking game. You're kind of like cybernetic cops, or you're playing with like a ghost to help you out or something. I'm not quite sure what it's about, but it seemed like it had really cool music and gameplay. So this is something you could only play on the Switch, and I bought a brand new copy of it. And you can still get these on eBay. I think I paid like $40 or $50 or something, which is more than I usually pay for games. But apparently on the Switch, these games really hold their value. So I had to pay a lot of money for an old game. And that actually might be the most I paid for any games I'm going to show you today. Most of these games I got for a very good deal. And I also got some movies too, which I'll show you. Now, in commemoration of my buddy Tylord here, I got some VHS trash. This is a movie called Down the Drain. And I first saw this, I remember, when I was a kid, like back in I think it was in the 80s or 90s. This is from 1990, and I remember my family was on a trip to Mexico, and we were staying at this kind of lousy motel there, and I drank the water, unfortunately, there, and got really sick. And while I was sick, I remember this movie was playing on the TV in my motel room there, so we watched it kind of together as a family, and it is a really bad movie, but it's like bad in like so cheesy it's funny kind of bad. So it's I don't know, it's kind of like a criminal hijinks type movie. I'll show you the little preview for it they had.
Are you crazy?
Look, you need me. I can dump the stuff at a top price.
Be very careful.
It's a double cross!
Where are the suitcases? You make one wrong move and...
Immigration! Immigration! La Viga! La Viga! I can't trust anybody.
Andrew Stevens.
It's cops. Let's get out of here.
Terry Copley. John Matuszak. Joseph Campanella. Jerry Mathers.
Hello?
Don Stroud. Benny the Jet Urquidez. And Stella Stevens are Down the Drain.
W kanale to znakomita komedia kryminalna. Dystrybucja Best Film.
Now here's another film-related thing I got. This is a series called Battlestar Galactica. It's actually a remake of the Battlestar Galactica that came out in I think it was in the 70s. But this is a TV show. I think it's from the late 2000s, probably. maybe sometime in the 2000s. It spanned over many years, actually. But I remember it just being really awesome. And I got the full Blu-ray set. So you got season 1 through 4, and then there's like a kind of like a bonus movie, I guess, called The Plan. But I got this whole set for like $50 off Amazon, which I thought was a pretty good deal. It's a long series, but it's very well done. I think this guy is my favorite character in the show. He's the Admiral of the fleet. I think it's what's his name? Edward James Olmos, I think is the actor's name. He does a fantastic job of playing the Admiral. And if you guys have never heard of this show before, basically the gist of it is kind of like a fictional planet everyone lives on, but they've built robots to kind of help them, in manufacturing and stuff. And it's one of these things where the robots kind of rebel against the humans. And actually, I think the whole planet ends up getting wiped out, except for this just kind of group of like military ships that were off planet at the time. And basically the whole series is these people in various ships like running away from the robots through space and just trying to survive. And all the little kind of things that go along with that are really explored through the show. And it's got pretty decent acting and stuff. It's a really good show. I recommend it if you guys have never seen it. Here's a game soundtrack. I got this a little bit ago, but I don't remember if I showed it to you guys or not. And this is the soundtrack to Final Fantasy XII, which is for the PS2. But I've been kind of interested more in getting the Final Fantasy soundtracks lately. So this is one of the ones that I didn't have, and I think I had to order this off the Square Enix store, maybe. I forget. Actually, no, you know what? I just got this off eBay. These are pretty readily available on eBay, but this is the Japanese version, and it's got all the songs from the game on it. I think it's got like 3 or 4 discs here. I forget. I put them all on my iTunes and stuff already. But this is a great soundtrack. And here's another unrelated to games thing. This is a what would you call this? You call this a sales brochure for totally random, I know. This is the sales brochure for a Mitsubishi 3000 GT from the late 90s. This is a 1998 one. And I don't know what it is. For some reason, I've really been kind of dreaming about these cars for the last couple of years. And I've kind of had my eye out for like a nice one. I kind of like these white ones. And I wouldn't even need like a really expensive, 4-wheel drive VR4 model. I kind of just like the front-wheel drive models, and you can get those for a lot cheaper. And I haven't really found one that I'd really super want to buy, but this car actually kind of reminds me of my old Chrysler Sebring. I had a 1998 Chrysler Sebring back in the day, and it was the first new car I'd ever bought, actually. And it actually looked a lot like this inside. It had the gray leather seats, and at the time Chrysler was partnered with Mitsubishi making a lot of cars, so a lot of the parts you see rather in this car were also in my Chrysler at the time. Like the steering wheel, same gear shifter, just little stuff like the window switches, all very similar. A lot of times the exact same parts. So I'm probably not going to buy one of these cars. I really don't have the space. I've got way too many cars as it is. But I thought just to kind of have fun, I'd grab this sales brochure. And this is a really nice condition. It's like brand new almost. Some guy was selling them on eBay for $10, so I said, I'll just grab this. So that's kind of cool. All right, now we'll get into all games from this point. Here's a PS2 game called Seven Samurai 20XX. And this is based off the Kurosawa movie, The Seven Samurai. It's a very classic, like black and white movie. I think it's from the 50s, maybe. I'm not sure. It's very old, though. And this game is very loosely based on it, from what I understand. I haven't actually tried this one yet. But it's kind of one of those games that almost no one talks about, no one knows about, and I very rarely see it around. And I just happened to see it on eBay. I think I paid like 20 bucks for it. But I think this is probably going to be one of those PS2 games that, you know, at some point everyone's just going to figure out is available and be like, oh, I need to collect that for my collection. Because, you know, I've been collecting PS2 for a long while, and I never even knew about this one until fairly recently, actually. Here are some Japanese import PS2 games. I got these for almost nothing off eBay. It's like, sometimes you see these listings where it's like starting at $1 and it's like zero shipping, and they figure, you know, they'll get something for it. And I think, I literally think I paid like 10 bucks for both of these together. This one's called Become a Pilot 2. And this one's a little trickier to play. I'm having a little trouble getting through like the Japanese menus and stuff. But these are both plane-related games, and this one's called Jet to Go 2. And this one actually I think is a lot more fascinating. It's like a jetliner simulation, and you'll go, you know, you're the pilot and you kind of go through like the takeoff process, and you'll hear the little like Japanese voices that you'd hear on a plane at the time. You know, this game's like from the early 2000s, I think. And, you know, you got the Japanese stewardesses telling everyone to buckle up and stuff. And I think there's like a separate menu where you like tell everyone to put their trays up and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of interesting in that way. And then, you know, you'll take off and you'll be up in the air flying to your next, you know, commercial destination and stuff. It's a very unique game that I don't think ever came out in the US at all. Nothing like this came out here. So I thought this was just fun to get for just kind of a laugh, I guess, and have a unique experience, I suppose. So that's it for the PS2 games. I did also pick up some PS4 games. This one, Space Hulk. This is a Warhammer game, I think. I just happened to see this at half-price books. It was like $10 as well. And I honestly don't know anything about it. I haven't tried it yet. I think it's like a strategy game, maybe. I'm not sure. But if you guys know anything about this, let me know. And let me know if it's worth a try or not, or if I should just trade it in. Here's two games I got at Walmart for. These were 10 bucks each. I got One Piece Odyssey, and I got Dead Island 2. And Dead Island 2, I know, is like a remake of the older one on Xbox 360. This is like much different than the original one, though. And I haven't tried either of these yet. I've been busy with other stuff. But yeah, let me know if you recommend either of these as well. Now here's some games I have been playing. I was recommended this game by my buddy Toro. It's called System Shock. And you can get this off Amazon for 20 bucks very easily. And I believe it's a remake of like an old PC game from, I want to say the 90s. I think it's pretty old, but they did a very good job remaking it. The graphics kind of burn into your eyes a little bit because you're on this space station and everything's very dark and things get kind of neon and just the graphic style. It's like kind of one of those games that you could only play like half an hour at a time, at least for me anyway. And then I have to put it down because my eyes start getting a little sore. But it's very interesting and very difficult too. You're kind of running through the space station, trying to figure out like how to get to the end boss and doing little puzzles and gathering weapons, trying to stay alive with these evil cyborgs chasing you and stuff. It's kind of one of those types of games. But it's not too bad. I wouldn't say it's a fantastic game. I don't like recommend it for everyone, but if you like kind of the older PC style feel, I'd say this is a very good game to just kind of get that feeling from the 90s back a little bit. What was the term? There's like a term they use for these kind of things, boomer shooters, I think. But I don't think it's like really a boomer shooter. It's more like a reimagining or a remake or something like that. Here is No Man's Sky. I have been interested in this game ever since it came out, actually, because I've always kind of wanted a game where you're going through like the galaxy doing kind of like space exploration. But when this game came out in 2016, it was for the PS4. And I remember seeing reviews on it, and everyone was just very disappointed with it. I think it was either buggy or unfinished at the time, and it just wasn't really worth getting for me when it came out. But they have this PS5 version now where, you know, everything's been worked out, most of the bugs are gone. I still notice a couple bugs, but I've played this for like 15 hours, I think, maybe even 20 hours, and it's very relaxing, actually. You can kind of just take everything at your own pace and explore things at your own pace. And, you know, you're slowly learning more and more stuff about your ship and gathering upgrades for your ship and for your, you know, weapons and stuff like that. It's very interesting, well-done game, actually. And it's made by Hello Games, which I never heard of before, but kind of the style of this game reminds me a lot of the, what's the game called, where you're playing underwater? I'm blanking. Oh, Subnautica. Like the style of it's kind of like Subnautica, where you're kind of going around the planet exploring stuff and gathering resources, and it's just very immersive, I guess, because, you know, you're having to stay alive, and you're spending most of your time just kind of like going from planet to planet, trying to figure out like how to make your ship stronger and stuff, so you can get to like more planets that are farther away. You have to like build up your jump drive and, you know, all that kinds of stuff that you think of it as a space exploration game. And there's kind of like a minor story in the background, which you can either do or you don't have to do. The game even tells you, the game says like, okay, from this point on, you know, you've learned all the basics. You can either go through the story or you could just fuck around. This is kind of a really cool game for someone like me who just enjoys kind of screwing around in games and not always having to, you know, beat them as fast as possible. So I recommend this game if you like that too.
Extreme Sentinel Bird. Extreme Sentinel Bird.
All right, last stuff I have to show you. These are some Japanese PS1 imports, and I've been collecting the PS1 imports for a while now. I think they're very interesting because you kind of get a look at the unique games that Japan had that we didn't back in like the 90s. And there's kind of like a lot of, this is going to sound kind of silly, but like a lot of kind of like cultural things about these games that we never have over here. They're like just totally Japanese and goofy. So the first two games I'll show you here, these ones I actually already had, but I saw these on an eBay listing and they were very cheap. So I thought I'd just grab another pair of them to just kind of toss around and play, because they're really not in, you know, mint shape or anything. But these are the Bust a Move games in Japan, but here they came out, I don't think they're very popular here. They're called Bust a Groove here, because they have to change the name. And what these are they're like rhythm dance games, kind of like, you know, what they call this, DDR games back in the day, Dance Dance Revolution. But they're a little more simple. You know, you don't need like a dance pad for them. You're just using the controller, but you do have to be very good rhythmically, I'd say, to play these at all. And if you don't have unfortunately, if you don't have a CRT television, I wouldn't even recommend trying to get these, because on a modern TV, the timing that you need to really like beat these games well, it just can't be done on a modern television because of the lag factor. I even have a RetroTink device that I use to play my old games on my on my big TV out there, and for the life of me, I cannot get the rhythm synced. It just doesn't work. So I always play these on my CRT. They work really well on the CRT, and they're a lot of fun actually. This is the second one. I've never seen a green game before, and I got this one. I already have these. Here, let me show you my other ones actually. These are my two copies that I've had for years now, and they're both like really nice shapes. So I just keep them in the plastic there. But this was like a special edition, like a 2-disc one. But the actual game disc didn't come with this one. You can see it broke as soon as I opened it. But what it did come with was this little bonus disc here. And it's got, I think it's got kind of like a movie that shows like the people that made the game a little bit, and like some promotional videos they did for it. And then there's like 3 videos that are kind of like previews for other Enix games at the time. Because this game was actually made by Enix, before they merged with Square, and it became Square Enix. This was just Enix games. So here's another, this is another game that I'd never heard of at all. I just happened to randomly see this, and this game is, I think, a little bit collectible too. I think, the cheapest one on eBay's are usually like $50, starting at $50 for like not even a very nice copy. But I got a mint condition copy off an eBay sale, and I'm very patient with eBay sales. I'll come in at the last second and just snipe it. And I got this game, I think it was under $20. So I got a very good deal on it. And this is a very unique game too. It's called Love and Destroy. And basically the premise of this game is you are a Earthling. And these 3 girls that you see on the front here, they come in a spaceship and they rescue you from being killed by some kind of giant alien. And then you have to use their giant mechs they have to help them fight the alien. I think that's about the gist of it. I don't completely understand the story that's in this game, but that appears to be what's going on. And there's 3 different girls, and there's kind of like some dating aspects in the game too, I think. And if you choose, one girl more than the others, as you play through the game, like at the end, after you beat it, you'll get like a different ending, something like that. But this game, I think it's like very unique and interesting, but it's not really the best gameplay. I was kind of hoping the mech fighting would be a little cooler. It is cool because I'll play some footage here. You can see you're actually fighting like these really weird-looking aliens, but just like I don't know, the controls are not really fantastic, and you're just kind of running through buildings, and you don't even see the buildings from your camera view until you've already run through them. So, it's still pretty fun, just in short playthroughs, I'd say. But Love and Destroy, bet you never heard of that one. And here's another one I'd never heard of. This is from a collection. This is called the Capcom Generation. And I think they made like 3 of these Capcom Generations. This is part 2. And what this has on it is the old Ghosts and Goblins games. So they have, the first one is called Ghosts and Goblins, I believe. And that was like the first arcade game they had. And then they have Ghouls and Ghosts, which was like the second arcade game, or like the Sega Genesis version. And they also have the Super Nintendo version on it, which I think is just called Super Ghouls and Ghosts. So you get 3 games on this collection. And you also get, like little bonus artworks and songs and stuff that they just kind of threw in there. So I thought this was really cool. And this game is not really that expensive. I think it's like, actually, I got a steal on this one too. I think I paid like $12 for it, but I'm not sure how it is. I'm not sure how expensive it is usually. Maybe a little more than that. But yeah, this is actually a pretty fun one if you like the old Ghouls and Ghosts games. Now, last but not least, another very, very unique Japanese import. And I'm going to have to look up the name of this because it's a really weird name. This one I never heard of or seen ever is called Iblard Laputa Kaeru Machi, I think. But this is kind of like one of those very rare, like artsy PS1 games that, you know, would have never done well here in America. But I was just on eBay one day and I happened to see this auction and I sniped it again for, I think I paid 19 bucks for it. But this game is really rare. I looked at the other sales on eBay. I think the cheapest one you could get is like 80 bucks. So I got a hell of a deal on this one. And I kind of like stuff like this just because it's so unique and it's kind of like a part of, you know, gaming history from back in the day. And, you know, no one's ever heard of this thing. It's really not a great game. You know, it's one of these kind of like walking simulator type games almost. But it is fascinating just to see, you know, what they were doing with the PS1 in Japan back in the day. And just like, you know, something completely different. I think the game's actually based off like a famous painter there. You can see on the front of the game here. There's like a woman with like some aliens with her, and there's a UFO and some kind of garden, hedge maze looking thing. I mean, it's way out there. So yeah, I thought I'd add all this to my little collection of games here. And I guess that's it for today. So thanks for staying with me this long, and let me know if you guys got any questions, and leave a comment down below, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.